So, yes, this is going to be a review of Bad Moms, which I just saw. A comedy movie. Normally I wouldn't go out to... Well, I normally would go out to a movie on Friday. We'd done a long review last night, Star Trek and some other stuff, and wasn't planning on seeing the movie. However, I ended up going to see it anyway, on the recommendation of the Stone Gremlins people. So I decided to, I saw the review. They didn't talk to me, I just saw the review. Yeah, the movie stars a number of comedians from the late 80s, early 90s, and on to the present, including Christina Applegate and Mila Kunis at odds. The premise of the movie, light spoilers, is that apparently there's this overworked, frazzled mother who is upset at the PTA lady because PTA lady's evil, and she's been the president for years, and her boss is kind of whiny, and her husband is apparently looking at, like, having online chat porn with a chick with a hairy bush, and she kicks him out. Husband, starting all kinds of other stuff happening. Daughter's on the soccer team, but the bad guy tries to kick her off. There's the bad guy's constantly going after her. A bad guy lady's constantly going after her and stuff, and the smart alecky lady is trying to talk her into doing bad things and stuff, and get even or whatever. Yeah, I don't want to give away the whole movie. It's a funny comedy, some good scenes in it. It works on many levels. I think it works better than Sisters. Sisters was a little too much Saturday Night Live. This is more like Fox TV's early Married with Children. In a lot of respects, very similar. If they had made a Married with Children reunion movie, or a remake, and they'd had, like, it'd be about someone other than Peg Bundy, but Peg Bundy's just in it, it would have been this movie, which is just fine, because that kind of works. They haven't done that, but if they did, Kirsten Bell was in it. There was actually, in the 70s, a famous porn actress who also had the same name, Kirsten Bell. They're unrelated. And in the 80s, when they said Kirsten Bell was going to be on television in something called Veronica Mars, some of my relatives thought that it was the one from the 70s, which would have been interesting, but no, different lady, younger lady, much younger. But yeah, she's not younger now, but she was in the 90s. But yeah, they're all playing mother characters. It's they decide to go all out and act crazy in the shopping store scene and other scenes, and drive the estranged husband's red car, and drive around and stuff. There's a number of gags that happen. It's really the chemistry between the characters that works, as opposed to just if it was just a straight on, point by point, we're going to do sort of a sitcom-y mother thing and make fun of that, and it's a little more than that. It's a little more than just lowbrow sitcom stuff. It has a similar vibe to Sex and the City, actually, in the Sex and the City movies, very much, in a lot of ways. It has, except I think this one's actually a little more charming than those. Those are just kind of, oh, girl power, yay, we're going to go out and do stuff. It'll be crazy. There's a little bit more than that going on, which is nice. Let's say that there are going to be spoilers ahead then, I guess, in this review. So there's going to be spoilers at this point, so if you want to stop listening to it. It's a good movie. Go out and see it while it's in theaters. I'm going to add a little bit of spoilers. Not a lot, though. I kind of went over what was going on. The hero is duped at every turn by the villain. The hero lady decides that she's going to get even, so to speak, by running for the PTA presidency, and beating her in the crux of the movie is sort of near the end is this election thing thrown in there. They're clearly mimicking the electoral season, the election year kind of thing. Joke. The Applegate's character is clearly supposed to be like a Martha Stewart type. And of course, Martha Stewart has a cameo. Yeah, of course. Which is probably one of the funnier scenes in it. And she offers them like rum jello. That was kind of funny. Yeah, it's a funny movie. I understand that some of the critics who are not really in the know about such things, it's not their demographic. It's a 40-somethings movie. It's a late 30-somethings, early 40-somethings movie. It tends to be a woman, girl, chick flick movie, very much so. However, I could appreciate it because of having three sisters and feminist leanings in the family. Yes, I can appreciate the movie. It was funny. I got it. I got the references. There was a funny scene in which they're being raunchy and they decide to demonstrate how to properly address a uncut, uncircumcised man's junk. And they grab hold of the little winnowing Kristen Bell character she's playing it. They grab hold of her sweater and pull it over her head and go like, "Okay, this is like a, like a dick." And then she, at the end of the gag, she goes like, "Okay, I'm never gonna wear this sweater again." That was funny. Ew, gross. But yeah, there were a couple of funny gags in there about penis gags and stuff, and they worked. It's an adult comedy. It's an adult comedy. Yeah, I think it was rated R, but really party like a mother. But really, there's one party in it. Actually, there's just drinking in the first one, and then there's a party later. It was the election party. But yeah, the whole premise is it's completely ludicrous. So if you're going in thinking it's going to be logical or something, have an end point that makes sense, even you're not going to get that. There is a funny scene. There's a counseling scene in the movie where there's his Wanda Sykes shows up, and she's the counselor, and that was just funny anyway. She could have just been on screen, just like poofing or something. It would have been funny, but she's at the end of the sketch. She goes, "Okay, you two are a disaster. You should just get divorced." That's messed up. But yeah, that was funny. But there's a lot of that in there. A lot of sarcastic comebacks to stuff and everything, which gets to and there's spoilers throughout this thing. So yeah, it's got some spoilers. I'm not going to tell the whole movie, but except suffice to say that near the end of the review here, that the villain works and is set up as a villain. She does these mean things. She kicks the daughter off the soccer team. She then stages a drug bust, where the villain puts pot in the girl's locker and stuff, and it's stages all this other mean stuff so that Mila Kunis won't come to the election and run and whatever, and the character that she's playing. And it's like she's doing all these mean things, and then near the end of the movie, spoiler alert, they essentially make up. And I'm thinking that would never happen in real life. That's a little strange. They did a similar thing in Barbershop 4 when they had every right to have the villain in that movie totally get her ass whooped because she deserved it. But for some reason they decided, no, we'll just make up as long as you don't ever do what you did again, kind of deal. Because yeah, you've obviously lost something or whatever. Ooh, I thought what they were gonna do. See, the villainous lady gets caught and everything. I thought they were gonna have a comeuppance of some kind and have the principal kick her out of the PTA or something, or have anything, something. But no, she's crying in her car. I thought it was staged. It was going to be crocodile tears, so she would go at the end and go, "Ha ha, gotcha," just to be sleazy or mean. But no, it's just the villain. She accepts the villain's sort of weepy apology because the villain has lost money because her husband embellished $1 million or something. She's apparently really rich. She didn't really establish, but I guess they kind of sort of did, because if she knew Martha Stewart, she's probably a little rich, probably connected a little bit. Yeah, and also the joke being that Martha Stewart did go to jail for lying in court, but for a little while anyway. But it was a nice jail, and when she was there, she ruled the entire cell block. Yes, with an iron fist. Oh. And clearly the character she's playing is a Martha Stewart type of character, so that's what makes it funny. There was a funny scene where she was doing saying all the things that couldn't be at the bake sale. It was like literally everything on the planet couldn't be in the bake sale. From peanuts to gluten bread to everything. No. So there's going to be nothing in anything they're baking. To which the Clueless character then, the hero in the story, responds by getting store-bought cookies and like insulting her. But it's like this, more to that villain story. It's like, yeah, it needed a comeuppance, and it didn't get one. You're like, at the end of the movie, you're like, okay, now the villain shows up, and I thought, okay, now the villain showed up again. And the other two ladies are like, okay, this is weird. The villain is showing up again. It's stalking a moment. Maybe she's going to do something bad. But no, she invites them to go flying on their Learjet. Her Learjet. And walk off. There should have been a line or a gag in there, something along the lines of, is she going to take us away and like hide us, throw us in a river somewhere? Should we go with her? Because that would be funny. But they didn't do that. Like, no, I'm just going to like abandon you on a tropical island with my Learjet. Just kidding. They should have done something like that. You know, they imply that, okay, they're going with a villain at the end to go on a fun trip or something. But they're not going to turn into the villain. They're just going on a trip. That would have been funnier, but they just ended it. And then they cut to the end credits where the mothers from the actresses show up, and they have heartwarming moments about being mothers and daughters. So it's a mother and daughter movie. Although, granted, it's not a young mother-daughter movie. It's definitely rated PG-13 or even R. Of course, kids these days, they know all the dirty words anyway, but still, you know, under 13, don't take them to see this movie. Except for the swearing. Yeah, they wouldn't get it anyway. Ironically, there's a kid in it that's like 13. But it's like, actually, the movie, I hate to be all prudish and like conservative, because usually I'm not, being liberal a little bit, but usually I'm conservative about movies, when I see movies. They could have actually cut out like five of the F-bombs, the fuck you bombs, and the movie would have been PG-13. Because there's no sex in it. It's all, anything simulated suggesting like, ooh, they kiss, or ooh, they're in a bed but the sheets are covering them. That's fine. This movie could have been PG-13. Should have been. Other than that, you know, except for the bad behavior, but I guess, yeah, all right, R. It's not really R. This would have been a PG movie in the 80s. It would have been PG, or PG-13, so they just took off a few of the F-bombs. It would be PG-13, and earlier, a moment ago, I said that it's not for little kids. Well, because they wouldn't get it. Not because they don't understand. They just wouldn't get it. But yeah, the villain doesn't get a comeuppance. They set it up for a sequel almost. And that was a little strange, because they kind of did that with Barbershop The Final Cut as well, or Next Cut, when they had the villainess just make up with the wife lady at the end of that movie. Then she makes up with her at the end of this one. It's like, have some come up, a little bit of something, you know. Have them say, have her like make some snarky comeback. Anything that says, okay, they're not just going to be pals with a villain now. That doesn't make sense. The villain's whole motivation was her money and prestige and power, and she lost that, and now she's got nothing with it. No, that isn't really what happened, because she still got a jet and stuff. So yeah, it's like, why would they go with her? It would be like being in a schoolyard as a kid, you know, back in the day, and palling around with the head bully of the school afterward. That doesn't happen. That does not happen. I'm not hanging around with the head bullies from my high school. No. I'm going to do that. None of my friends would do that from high school. So it would be like that. You know, we wouldn't do that. So yeah, that was a little odd. But it is a comedy. You know, caution to the wind there. I mean, it was reminiscent of Bridesmaids a little bit. The same idea. Reminiscent of a little bit of Wedding Crashers. Kind of like that. Basically, everybody's, in some cases, every guy in it is kind of a dick, except for the dude that's all hot and cut and stuff there. Looking at him like he's hot. It's like that might be another thing that would annoy people, is even though they cast like They did cast people that looked average in the movie as co-stars, guest stars, sort of background characters. They did not cast average people as the very main characters that have the dialogue. So they were essentially the token other characters. Yeah, there was nothing too odd about it. It was not really. I mean, yeah, if you're a lady, you'd probably find this hilarious. But yeah, that was funny. There were parts that were extremely funny in this movie. It worked on many levels. Let's say go out and see it in theaters. Yeah, and go and enjoy it. You could also buy it for. It's a better Mother's Day gift than seeing the movie Mother's Day. I thought it's better than that movie, that remake that they did. But yeah, and it's better than Sisters. Although some parts of Sisters were funny. The dick on the wall, that was funny. The guy's all like, what? Well, yeah. So I didn't realize how short Kirsten Bell is next to the other two ladies. But anyway, so Martha Stewart is strange. Yes, and there's a lot of simulated drinking. So if you're all like bent out of shape about simulated drinking, they clearly weren't actually drinking because they weren't actually acting. I mean, sort of. And there was a scene in which essentially somebody, if you want to be all prudish, the potential boyfriend guy shows up. The chick has been drinking, and they start making out. But that's kind of messed up because she's drunk, or at least on a buzz. You should know better and say like, okay, that's not cool. I'm gonna wait till you're sobered up, and then I'll make out with you. But oh well, I guess that's what happens out there. She's essentially cheating on her husband while she's estranged. So, but yeah, well, but yeah, that didn't. I mean, it was supposed to be the bad moms, right? Yeah, so fine. Yeah, I got nothing else other than go and see it. Yeah. I didn't watch all of the Stone Gremlins review because I didn't want to give anything away. I rushed off to see it. Now I'm going to go watch the review. But yeah, the bad mom. So I enjoyed it, even though I'm not a mom and couldn't possibly be. It was a cute mother-daughter movie. Cute mother-daughter movie. Maybe if your daughter's like a young teenager, probably find that movie hilarious. Yeah, like I bet my sister and Sarah. My sister and my niece